So something I've been eyeing up for a little while was buying another SD40. And it's been some time since I've bought an Athearn RTR engine or the ready to roll. And they've changed things over the years here recently, and also some of them are even coming with sound now. So I'm just going to take a look at this one I just picked up here, and you can see exactly how much I paid for it. Picked this up at a local hobby shop. I mean, yeah, I might be able to do a little bit better online on it, but kind of just wanted to have something right now. And we'll unbox it here and take a look. I removed the little plastic factory seals on there. Did not get any further than this, though. Oh, something fell out there. I don't know what. What is this? Sanding lines, perhaps? Stuff that I probably won't put on. We'll see. Hopefully nothing is broken off inside. Seems to be a problem lately. I don't see any parts laying around in there. Okay. So one interesting thing with these now is they actually do have ditch lights on them. And they have them in the front and rear. The earlier runs of these did not have any ditch lights. Some of the even earlier than that don't even have the front cables. And the earlier runs didn't have this little one here at the front either. So a lot of the detail in here, honestly, this really reminds me of a Genesis model. And even the couplers there on the back. Yeah, this is basically like Athearn Genesis. I don't know if this has LEDs or not. I didn't really read up too much on these. Pretty nice detail, though. Yeah, drop my knife. Go ahead and lose these here. Alright, so we got it on track here. We're going to go ahead and fire it up here. It's got pretty good volume. I don't hear any crackles out of the speaker. Very loud and clear horn. It's pretty good. Let's take a look at the lighting. I'm not sure if they're still using bulbs in these or if they went LED, but it's very dull. You can barely see it that it's even on here. We'll hit the ditches. Oh wow, those are really bright. Those definitely look like LED. We'll check out the rear. Real quick, I'll take a peek. Huh. The rear's lit up really good. I'll flip it around here so you can see. Yes, that's lit up really good. So maybe I have a problem with the front. I don't know. Get a little bit better lighting there. upon taking a closer look at it, I think maybe that the bulbs kind of came out the back side there, so I might have to take this apart and see what happened there. But I think the light piping came out of the nose there. I think that's what the problem is. But for now, we'll get it back on track here. I don't know how hard that'd be to fix, but we'll see. So it appears to have factory LED all the way around. I got the flashing ditches up front. We'll see if they did that on the rear. Kind of hard to see at the same time. It appears it does not have rear flashing ditch lights. So this does have an economy decoder in it. I guess maybe they ran out of functions. And we got our bell there. Short horn. We'll mute the sound for a second there. And in previous ready-to-run models, I've always had a problem with these being extremely noisy in the motor. And usually I end up remotoring them. I had one of these a couple years ago. It was another NS model from an earlier run. And it did not have ditch lights. It did not have LED. Very noisy motor in it. DCC ready. But I ripped all that stuff out and put ESU in it and sound and did LED on the headlights and taillights, but never bothered putting in dish lights. But I was very happy with that model and ended up trading it away some years ago, and I've always kind of wanted to replace it. So we'll see how this one does on the motor. That's at speed step 2. Not too bad. We're in half throttle now. Oh, forgot I had another train on the track there. Oops. But this is definitely quieter than the last one I had, for sure. There, low it down there. Yep. Not bad. Taking a look at the guts here on it, because I kind of wanted to see what was going on with the front light, and indeed it was kind of completely disconnected. And these bulbs are super small, so I don't know how hard that's going to be to stick back through those two little holes in the nose there. Hopefully not too bad. Taking a look over the decoder, some things I do notice on this versus some of the other style of economy is that it does have these capacitors on the bottom here. That kind of reminds me, it almost looks like a Genesis decoder. And also it has dual sugar cubes back here. So that's probably part of why it sounds really, really good. So it looks like they have a pretty good lighting setup and a pretty good sound setup in here. I'm still using the old traditional Athearn ready to run drivetrain. So I'm going to try to get these lights back in place and get everything back together, and then we'll go over some things. So we are all back together again, and you can see that my headlight bulbs are now in place. While I had it apart, I did look for a way to possibly light the number boards, but it doesn't look like there is a way in there. Also got rid of the junky plastic couplers and replace them with KDs. I did have to use a little bit longer. I normally use, I think they're 58s, which is the standard length. I had to use a little bit longer to actually clear the draft boxes, and also to give myself enough that I'll be able to take tighter corners with this. But all back together again. And I gotta say, this thing is put together really well. I mean, pretty much to take it apart, it's just like a Genesis model, really. You got a screw here and a screw back there, and the two couplers. Just one screw there, and you just pop it out, and the shell pops right off. Alright, let's take a look at that headlight now. There we go. That's what we're looking for. We'll go ahead and try some tests with the speed here. See what kind of top speed it can produce. We'll go ahead and get out our speedometer. We'll let it get warmed up for a lap or two here. Miles an hour. Pretty prototypical for an SD40. They used to call them fast 40s. Union Pacific used to run them on high priority trains for things like produce. 81. It's not bad there. So we're going to take a look at the pull power here. And you might think, oh, this is a terrible test hooking up passenger cars, but the 8 that I have hooked up are not an easy load, and there's even some steam engines I have that kind of struggle with these sometimes. So this should be a pretty good test here of what this can do, and we'll see what it does here. Oh, I guess it helps if the whole train's hooked up. We'll give it another shot here. No. Alright, I give up on this test. One more time here. And looks like it is pulling the whole train. All 8 cars. Pretty quietly too. See how it does going uphill here. The back row seems to be a little bit slightly upgrade. This is not a completely flat floor. So far, so good. So I'd say that's a success. So there we have it. Couple of final thoughts on this, because I won't go into too many other features. I mean, we've kind of seen everything that it does there. And kind of where this fits into the marketplace. I had pretty low expectations for this, as I do with most Athearn locomotives. I'm usually pretty hard on them. And there's a reason why. It's usually because they're among the most expensive in the industry as far as the price. This model was not. I mean, this is kind of aimed at that mid-tier, and I kind of think it knocks it out of the park, really. And, you know, obviously the real question is, why would you buy this rather than the Scale Trains locomotive, or which one is better? There are pluses and minuses to that. Overall, definitely the Scale Trains is going to be a better engine. There's some things that you give up with this, and going to this price point, you know, the Scale Trains is going to have a better decoder in it. The more comparable decoder to what ESU it would be a Tsunami 2. This has the Economy. What do you really give up going to an Economy? Well, nothing really as far as sounds. You do give up the dynamic digital exhaust that's load-based, which means the more pressure is on the motor, it'll automatically notch up and down. That's a feature of Tsunami 2. These will notch up and down, but it's based on speed. So that's one difference in the Economy. Also, functions, you're limited, so things like making the ditch lights flash in the rear, I could do that if I put a Tsunami 2 in it, or if I put ESU in it. Also, the Scale Trains, of course, come with the Keep Alives built in. This does have a space on the board where you could plug in a Keep Alive. And so it is set up for that if you wanted to add that in. You know, that adds about $20 to your cost. You know, kind of the hierarchy of SD40s that are out there. There is a DCC ready version of this model, which I've seen hovering from about 110 to about 120. The Scale Trains, they call theirs the Operator, which it sacrifices a little bit of detail. Those come in a little around that price, or a little bit less. The detail on those I don't think is as good as what's on this one. So kind of, you know, you have this base Scale Trains, and you have the base model of this, and then you have the sound model of this, and then you go up to, you know, where the Scale Trains would be. But I mean, this is, it basically is like an Athearn Genesis model. This is what Athearn Genesis should have cost and what it should have been 5 years ago. So better late than never. I think maybe this is the first sign that we're starting to see that I guess the Scale Trains effect is starting to affect Athearn, and maybe indirectly or directly. I'm sure that nobody at Athearn would admit it, but it seems like maybe they're under a little bit of pressure now, so they're kind of forced to up their game. But I am amazed with this engine. It does everything well. In time, maybe I'll put in Tsunami 2 so I can make the ditch lights flash in the rear. Also, speaker setup is outstanding. No need for improvement there. The lighting is great. Color tone's good. The brightness is good. No real need for changes there. So, Athearn, job well done. I have no criticisms here on this. Yes, it sucks that I had to spend a little bit of time putting the headlight back in. It's, you know, you shouldn't have to fix something that's brand new out of the box, but that seems to be the situation that we're in most times with a lot of these things. So, again, outstanding job, Athearn, and, you know, this would make me definitely consider buying some more Athearn ready-to-roll engines here, at least in the newer series moving on. So, I like it.